Well, hello everybody. I promised you a nice card today, and I got it from the Creative Memories blog, and it's really pretty. But when I followed the directions, when I followed the directions that were on the blog, the card was too big for the envelopes that I use. I like to use the regular. Let's see. I'll show you. It was too big. So I reconfigured the directions and I was able to make some really cute cards. And I'm going to show you how to do that today. So, and this one here, you can use whatever you want to embellish. I use foam squares to put it on so that the other flap will tuck under. And so let's get started on that. You'll need a piece of designer paper that you like two sides of, or two different pieces of designer paper that coordinate. I used paper from the Heart to Help paper pack because I like that a portion of the proceeds goes to help displaced Ukraine families. So I bought quite a few of these, and I like to use it to promote that. So to begin with, you'll need a piece of cardstock, and you need to cut the card base at 5.5 by 6.25. So I've done that ahead of time. It's 5.5 by 6.25. With the extra one, you're going to cut a circle out of this. So we'll cut that circle and get that out of the way. This one here, and you can just about get the right size circle. It's the medium size circle from the custom cutting system, and the blue blade. So you just about get it. Just about gets on that with the rest of the cut for the card base. So we're going to cut that circle. And then you're going to take the circle and you're going to cut it in half. And it's real easy to do with a 12-inch trimmer, because when you push it up, the cutting line ends up right in the center of the circle. So you just have to make sure it's just straight up, and you just cut it in half and you get a perfect cut. Well, mine is a little bit off, but that doesn't make any difference if it's a little bit off. It kind of all goes together. I've done that a couple of times. So with the designer paper, you're going to cut 2 circles, and you're going to do the same thing. You're going to push it up, make sure it's, and you're going to cut that in half. And that one worked. And you're going to cut this one in half. So the circles will be done. Let's see, make sure that they're right up there. And you cut that in half. So we're going to need the trimmer for one more thing. But now, on the 5.5-inch side, you're going to take any border punch that stays on the paper. I'd call it like an edge punch. So it could be from your border maker system. What I'm using here is the decorative arches, because I think it's really pretty. So you're going to cut a border, one on each side of the the 5 inch, the 5.5 inch side, not the 6.25, but the 5.5. So the blog had, instead of 6.25, it had 6 7/8, and that was way off. It just made it too big. So I just kind of, when I cut a card base, I cut it 8.5 by 5.5, and that's 4.25. So I figured, well, let me add 2 inches to 4.25, and that's where I came up with the 6.25. Now we're going to switch our blade to the scoring blade, and we're going to score the decorative edge right at the 1-inch line. So that's 1, and we're going to score this also at the 1-inch line, and there's 2. Then we're done with the trimmer. I'm going to fold these down, crease it, crease that side. Now we're going to work with these, and we're going to adhere the decorative paper onto the cardstock pieces. And I just try to eyeball it so I have pretty even borders. And on the other side, I chose to use the flip side of this. But like I said, you can use 2 different pieces of designer paper. If you don't like the flip side of the one that you're using, 2 different pieces that coordinate work out as well. And pardon me, I have a frog in the throat. I think it's kind of the aftermath of COVID. COVID said, I'm going to leave you, but you're not going to forget me. And I won't forget. Never forget, and I don't wish it on anyone. Now, see, this is the one I cut a little too small. But in the scheme of things, it doesn't matter. So now I'm putting repositionable tape on the bordered part, and I'm fitting the half circles in there. I hope this is all in the screen. I'm trying to watch as I do. Okay, oops, that was on the wrong side. I'll just brush. That's the good thing about using Repo. You can just brush it right off. And then the next thing you do is just round it off. And you have a really cute, really different card. Now you can cut a piece for the inside, and like for this one I didn't, because it's light colored, and I like to write nice messages in there, but I could have cut a piece for the inside. And there, and so that just kind of tucks in there. For the gray one, I guess I don't have that handy. Yes, I do. For this one here, I covered it with a light colored paper that I could write on. So if it depends on what paper you're using, what cardstock you're using, you might want to cut a piece of coordinating paper to go inside here, and it should be 5.25 by 4 inches, and it would fit right in there with a little margin. So now all we have to do is embellish. And I'm going to embellish on the front. And I used foam squares. Trying to see where I put them aside here. Oh, they're right here. And I kind of, what I did was I put the flower down and I closed this to determine where I want my foam squares. So I'm going to move this over like that. And my foam squares are going to go right here, right on this side. And 2 is a good, you really need about 2. And when you do this, just kind of stick it down, and that holds the flap in. Now, this can go on with a foam square too, though I didn't do it on the other one. And it gives it some height and some interest. So there's the card. There's that real cute card. And it does fit in those little envelopes. So I hoped you liked that. It's a real quick, real easy card. If you go to the blog and you see this, just be sure that you cut your card stock the right size. Here's one that I made that I had cut a piece that was 5 1/4 by 4. And it fit right in there. So it's a light piece and it goes with the blue. So that's the one, that's the other sample that I made. So yeah, just be sure you adjust what you cut the, if you go to the blog and follow the directions there, you cut your card base again at 5 1/2 by 6 1/4 rather than 6 7/8. And I wanted to make you aware that there is a sale going on Creative Memories. If you spend a certain amount of money, for instance, if you spend $150, you can get $45 off if you use the coupon code US45. And if you spend $50, you can get $10 off if you use the coupon code US10. And then I think it's 125. I'm not sure what the middle one is. That you can get $25 off, I think it is, if you use the code US25. It says it on my website. Anyways, all those parameters are on the website. So if you need some supplies, it's a good time to stock up and get a nice little discount. So that's all I have for today. I hope you like that idea, and I'll see you next time.